All righty. Happy Thursday, Ron.
Happy Thursday.
Happy hour.
Happy
I am
hour. That's right.
on the East Coast preparing for this winter storm that's all over the news, all over my social feed, and you are in a much different place.
I am. I'm south of Spain and Portugal right now, just outside of Morocco. And we also are getting ready for a winter storm that's going to come across the Mediterranean here tomorrow.
This is your third cruise in 12 months?
Well, something like that.
Something like that.
It might be closer to 6 because there's been a couple back to back. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you
but
went
what's
on
important, I was going to say, what's happened is when I turned 60, we did the Ron 60th birthday world tour. And then Belinda just turned 60. And so I'm returning the favor, although we're visiting far more countries than this time than we did before.
Yeah. Well, you went on I think it was supposed to be originally like a 2-week cruise or a 1 week, and it turned into 30 days. Yeah. So,
yeah,
living life. Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers to you and Belinda. So happy Thursday.
Cheers.
We're going to talk about, take a little sip. We are going to talk about a handful of topics today. Every Thursday we go live. We talk about mostly housing and mortgage, and then the few random topics that we talk about, we try to tie it in to housing, and that is true of this week. I'm skipping the from the gut section this week because I've had a busy week building on a new project that Ron and I are working on that we're excited to launch soon to a small select group of beta users, and then go full out in the coming weeks or month or so. We'll see. But we're excited about it. So let's get into today's topics. Let's pull up the intro slides or the slides. Ron, take it away.
All right. So first topic is going to be interesting. More Americans are living alone than ever before. What's that mean? What's the implication for mortgage and real estate? And what's the societal implication? It's going to be a really good topic.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go, this was great. This is from Dave Savage, Trust Engine podcast, and he had Owen Leon, who had a wonderful insight about the financial literacy crisis in America, which is going to shock. If you're like me, it shocked me. So can't wait for that topic.
And then pizza.
Unbelievably, what we can learn about the mortgage company from the pizza business. You'll be surprised.
All right, so let's get straight to it. We're talking about more people living alone. I think there could be a clear-cut tie-in into housing with that, but what's our angle, Ron?
Well, first, Dave, I got to tell you, I'm super sad we don't have a From the Gut, which is the best, piece of these weekly podcasts. But I also appreciate all the hard work you're putting on our new product, which I think people are going to love, which hopefully will start to foreshadow or display, maybe not quite next week, but the week after, we'll probably start showing it, and hopefully getting everybody excited. But I missed the From the Gut, David. So there you go. All right, so here's the thing about, and this is this came from, I think, Sherwood News, where we got our source, but plenty of sources. And it's more Americans are living alone than ever before. And what it says, and again, what the chart will show us, is there are now 40 million Americans living alone. And that's something like 20% of Americans live alone, or 20% of households are somebody that lives alone, which is a startling number. And it's just not in America, by the way. It's in every country. But what's the societal implications? What's the implications to real estate? And when we first start thinking about this, we go, okay, how are we serving somebody that lives alone? How are we serving them down, whether they need to buy a house, say it's somebody launching from their as a youngster, and they're launching and buying their own house by themselves. Are we helping them, correctly? Or if it's somebody that might be widowed and now is an empty nester, are we helping them downsize? But as I thought about this, Dave, and I'm interested in what you think, it became a bigger societal issue. How are we taking care of 40 million people that live alone? And when I mean take care of, I don't mean financially. I mean emotionally, community. How are we keeping them connected? How are they having a rich and full life? And are we paying attention to that? Because that's a new phenomenon, as that chart shows. It's rapidly growing, and so it became, when I was contemplating this, but what's the implication of mortgage and real estate? I'm like, hell, what's the implication for society? Like, how do we take care of these people? And help nurture all their needs, whatever their age is. So that's the first thing that struck me. Dave, any thoughts on that?
Um, I had a couple thoughts to add why I think the rate is going up, but thoughts around how to care for these people. I'm not sure if that's a relevant question for our typical audience. I mean, my mother lives alone, but I think we could answer that question as humans.
Mhm.
But is whether you're loan officer or real estate agent, is that relevant to their business?
Oh, so Dave, this is such a good question. Thank you. And I think it's utmost importance because what mortgage and real estate professionals do is serve humans, right? What we do is satisfy human need. Housing is a basic human need, community connection, and we facilitate that, whether we're doing it for a sale or doing it to serve, our people. It's very important.
Yeah. So I had a thought on, and you'll probably, I think you'll get to this of why that rate is going up. But we've talked about two things in previous podcasts recently. One of which was the rise of women uh, living alone,
Mhm.
and that has drastically gone up. And then
Yeah.
also the divorce. Well, has the divorce rates been going up as well?
Yeah, David, divorce rates are actually dropping
Okay.
marginally, but also less people are getting married. So there's less opportunity for
Yeah.
divorce, but divorce rates are improving. I think 3 percentage points in the last decade. But Dave, you bring up a really good point. So single women are launching into buying houses exponentially faster. Now they're tripled single men, and you're right to call that out. That's absolutely correct. But another thing that's happening is what used to happen with our seniors, like the one spouse would die and the other spouse would move into assisted living or move into their children's home or even grandchildren's home, right? But today, with a lot of these seniors own their houses free and clear because 40% of the houses in the United States are owned free and clear. And another subset of that population has a 2.5 or 3% mortgage. The cheapest housing option they have is staying at the home they own. And so there's
Mm.
no longer the pressure to go into a more communal living space because of the economics. And that's the first time that has really existed, which is what's supporting more of these aged seniors living by themselves longer. And so it's a definite interesting phenomenon. But Dave, and here's the thing, because we're saying that in the United States, and that's not true across all countries. So where this is the biggest problem or challenge is in China, and it's projected that China will have 220 million people living by themselves by the year 2030. 220 million. That is a lot of people
What's the
living by
population of
themselves.
China?
It's a little under a billion right now, and it's falling because of birth rates. And we're going to talk about birth rates next week. By the way, can't wait to talk about it. But they're falling. They're not. They're only their birth rate is only replacing half of the death rate right now. So for every two
Mm.
people that die in China, they're only having one new birth, and so their population is falling, which is why India is going to pass them here in the next 2 years. But so in China, I mean, 220 people is so epidemic that they've created an app, and it's the fastest growing app in China, and it's called Sileme, Sile me, Sileme, and the app essentially. So you download the app, all it asks you is, "Are you alive?" Like, "Are you dead?" That's all the thing. Are you dead? And you click, "I'm alive." If you miss 2 days, then they call your emergency contact to go check on you. And it's
Mm.
the fastest growing app in China. It's the craziest thing. But Ken, I think you have a screenshot of this app, and something like that is going to come to the United States soon because proportionally, it's about the same. It's about the same percentage of population that lives alone here, and it's an interesting implication. So for housing, Dave, one, are we serving those, especially females that are launching on their own? Do we have products for them? Are we making sure we're marketing to them? And then how are we assisting? It's not so much a new client, but if I've helped, Mr. and Mrs. Smith throughout 20 years or 30 years, I've done 4 or 5 transactions for them. I've done transactions for their kids. I am their, concierge, financial concierge. Well, what role do I play in helping them as they get to being a surviving spouse and going on the next phase? As a advisor to the family, am I prepared to give good human advice or good feedback? And that's how I kind of look at it.
Yeah, that's a good take, and that's a good answer to the question that you asked me just earlier. In that, how can loan officers be helpful to their clients all throughout, regardless of if they're looking for a new mortgage and when they're living alone? And yeah, you can look at it as it's you can be their financial advisor to their entire family, to grandma's son, to or whoever, So yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. Don't look at
You know
it
what
as
it's like
just
a
a
lot,
single
Dave?
client.
I've been across the table from clients that are in this situation. They're 85, 88, even their 90s. Matter of fact, I did a reverse mortgage for a guy that was 100 one time.
Mm.
And they're very hesitant to spend what they think is their significance or inheritance. And so it really becomes the us as their key financial advisor to say, hey, look, you have plenty of assets, you have plenty of wealth. Let's take care of you first, and then worry about your
Hmm.
family. Let's not sacrifice. And we play a role in that conversation.
Yeah, both of my parents, my father has passed, but my mom, she's still with us. But my dad when he was still living, and my mom currently both had that perspective, like that didn't want to dip into their savings or any of this stuff. I was like, no, you need to live your life now. My mom, go back to England once a year, twice a year to see your family. Don't
Yeah,
worry about it. You've got the money, do it. They were like, no, but that's your inheritance. It's like, no, you
yeah.
first. So yeah.
And think about it, if you're close to your mom, you have, I don't want to say you take care of your mom, but you watch out for your mom, you have interaction with her. But think if your mom lived in Iowa and you rarely talked to her and she was just by
Yeah.
herself, right? I mean, and
Right.
and they're trying to make the best decision. I think there's a role here for us to be a good advisor. Anyway, that's what it caught my attention.
Alrighty. Next topic. We're talking about Owen Lee's 2026 playbook for IMBs.
Yeah,
No.
David, this was great. Both of us are huge Dave Savage fans, huge Trust Engine and Mortgage Coach fans. And Dave, I know you serve on the board of directors for First MIQ, which we're going to talk about here. But I love, I share with Dave. I got my YouTube analytics last year, and I was a 0.1% consumer of Mortgage Coach podcast. I was like one of their top, like I listen the most. And so I've been catching up because this year I've been traveling a little bit. I haven't been able to listen to him, but I was listening to his podcast with Owen Lee. And Owen, who I like quite a bit, I respect Owen quite a bit. CEO of Success Mortgage, really good dude. Also, the incoming, I think I want to say the incoming chairman of the NBA. Owen, if I got that wrong, I totally apologize. He's chairman in weight or something like that. And like I said, Owen, if I got that wrong, I apologize. But Owen, it was like this. Is why you listen to podcasts. Like you listen for an hour and maybe get one or two things. Sometimes you get like sometimes you get like just a whole laundry list. Like you listen to Jeremy Forcier or Sheila Gifford or Shayla, I should say, or if you listen to Sean Herrera, you can get or Shant, like you can get 60 minutes of nothing but gold. But if you can get two or three really good concepts out of it, and that's Owen said something, and he was complimenting Dave for his work on First Home IQ, and he was talking just how critically important the work that First Home IQ does, just for the American society, and he emphasized it this way, and it was nearly shocking. I know it surprised you. He goes, "Look, Dave, here's how I look at financial literacy crisis in America," and it was like, and I'm gonna generalize. I know we're gonna show the stats, but 40% of incoming freshmen at the University of San Diego, 40% can't do basic math. Now, some people listening to this may not be familiar with the University of San Diego, but it is probably it's a top 1% university, definitely in the country. In some disciplines, it's top 1% in the world. It's one of the harder universities to get into, meaning they get the cream of the crop. And the, you need like a 4.3 GPA to even be considered, and you have to have these ridiculous scores, right? It's a math university, and they did this study on math, on the math proficiency of the freshmen, and 40% couldn't do basic math. Like, for example, the question was, here's a number 55,427. Please round to the nearest hundred. 40% couldn't do that, answer that question. And these are the best students in the world. And so what Owen Lee said, he said, look, if the best students in the world, these people are all, 18, 19, 20, the best students in the world can't do basic math, what do you think we're facing with when we help a home buyer? Like we think they understand compound interest. We think they understand credit scores. We think they understand anything about, I mean, they can't even do basic math. I mean, the best students in the world can't do basic math. That's how big our challenge is. And I love that challenge. And I know, Dave, you have a passion for this because, like I said, you're on the board of directors for the First Home IQ. You really contribute to that organization because it's a passion for you. But I think Owen framed it so well. How do you think that strikes you? And by the way, before I turn it back over to you, this is UC San Diego remedial math, and this tells you what grade level the incoming students were proficient at. So what this says is 87% of the incoming freshmen, remember, one of the best universities in the world, only 87% could do first grade math. That means 13% of the best students in the world couldn't do basic first grade math. And if you go all the way to fifth grade math, only half the incoming students could do it. So what in the heck is our expectation for a home buyer? Dave, how's that strike you?
I'm blown away. McKenna, let's get your input here because you are the youngest of the three of us. I want to get some examples of what first grade math is. Ron, you gave the example of rounding up the 53,000 or whatever the number was. McKenna's the face that she's making tells me she doesn't remember either. What are some examples of first grade math?
By the way, that's considered third grade math. Third grade proficiency is being
Okay.
able to round to the nearest hundred. Yeah, just so you know.
And do you know any examples of first grade math?
I don't. I
I
don't.
mean, surely it's simple, like addition, multiplication, things like that. Surely that would be maybe.
Okay, I just pulled something up. Here's an example. Just 3 plus x equals 8.
Oh,
X plus 2. It just has an open circle. It
That's
doesn't say
first grade.
x.
that's first grade?
That's I
Well,
just pulled
I don't
up
want to be
a
professional.
Google image search.
Yeah.
Okay.
So McKenna, what do you think about that on math? What do you think?
Well, I've always said numbers and letters aren't exactly my strong suit. They all just kind of mix up in my head. But that is wild to me that going to one of the top colleges and you can't do that.
And by the way, a science college. This isn't a liberal arts college. It's hard
Mhm.
science college, right? It's
Like,
so
Yeah,
surprising.
it's
I
just
know
basic arithmetic.
I know for sure I wouldn't be accepted. Well, I mean, maybe I would, but like the idea of me going to like a hardcore science college, like I know my limits. That's not one of them. I can't do that. But to think that the people that are going to those colleges can't do that is insane to me.
By the way, you would get accepted. You have quite the resume. I feel, but and then project that onto how does think like even like our topics last week, like we're talking about some mortgage topics last week, and then think of the average home buyer that a loan officer or a real estate agent is going to try to serve. And are we even recognizing that they may have no idea what the hell we're talking about? like they don't even get it, right? It just tells you how important that education piece is, and as well as
Yeah, and
financial literacy in America.
right. Yeah, and just to kind of hammer the point of the mission at First Home IQ, to really educate the youth of to educate them in financial literacy. So that's a huge hurdle. Have you ever watched those videos of man on the street uh, type videos on social
Yeah.
media or wherever recently though? And I saw one recently. This isn't math, but if they're this dumb in other areas, I'm sure they are in math. But just basic geography. How many states are there in the United States, or what country is just north? Is on the north border of the United States, or what country is on the southern border, and just basic history or geography, and the answers that come out of people's mouth is does that say something toward just overall education in this country, and the level of it and the degradation of it?
Yes, absolutely. As well as, yes, I think 100%, as well as the family. I think some denigration of the family unit, where the family used to fill the gap in helping their
Hmm.
kids learn, right? And holding their kids accountable to it, regardless of the school. And part of that is, I think, single parent households, and part of it is socioeconomic, where people are working a lot more. And then there's definitely the degradation of, education in America, 100%.
Yeah. And I've seen a rise in homeschooling. We homeschooled our kids. We, as in Kelly, homeschooled our kids pretty much their entire childhood. And back when we first started doing it, homeschoolers were weird. Parents that homeschooled their kids were weird, and it was looked at as just kind of like mostly a religious. Most people back then would do it for religious reasons. Now I just saw on our neighborhood Facebook private page someone looking for advice on. I think I've seen like three posts in the last few days from people I'm connected with on social media interested in homeschooling. I think that speaks volumes towards the education today.
Definitely, it's definitely gone mainstream. I agree. Just as education is so poor, but I think the pendulum's starting to swing back now. It's so bad that it's swinging back to trying to get better, more realistic. I think we'll see. I have hope for that. But anyway,
Yeah.
really interesting topic. And
Well,
Dave, you and I,
just one last question on that. Is this just two boomers sitting here dogging on the next generation? And let's get McKenna's thoughts. Is this just, does every generation say this, or is this reality?
Whoops, I
You're
was
muted.
muted. From what I've seen, um, that I haven't really been following college age education, but I have been following like first grade, preschool, kindergarten, like those kinds of things. And kids are getting up to first grade not knowing how to read. And like there are a lot of issues with education in schools and at home where kids aren't knowing basic math, aren't knowing how to read, and aren't knowing like basic things that they need to know to get into the stages that they're going into. And so for my generation, for what's a little bit younger than me, I haven't quite been following as much, but for like Gen Alpha, the one that's below me, I have been hearing a lot of issues in education with them.
So this isn't a case of just two boomers dogging on the next generation.
I mean, I'd be quick to call that out, and I don't think that that's what it is.
All right, good.
Dave, I got a couple thoughts. One is machines do a lot of our thinking today, right? Like
Yeah.
like when I first got into being a loan officer, you had to be able to calculate payment by hand, and you still might have to for the test. But I mean, it was common. You calculate it by hand, and then you started using a HP12C, and you could calculate it that way. But kids today, they don't even know how to use HP12C. They can't. If you put a loan officer today, a 20-some-year-old loan officer couldn't give you payment. They'd like, yeah, let me turn on my computer. They couldn't, or let me talk to ChatGPT. They couldn't do it if you demanded it. Yeah.
Is an HP12C a calculator?
Oh, HP12C is the financial calculator, bomb.com.
Okay.
Polish law
Yeah.
is
Okay.
reverse.
I had the same question.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was 90% sure it was a calculator, but I wasn't 100%.
I'll show you one. I travel with one even today, dude. In case I have to whip
Why do
out
you
and save
travel
some
with an
recording.
HP?
Well,
Why
I
do you
use the
travel
app,
with one of those?
HP12C app, which is the bomb. on my phone. If I could find my phone, I'd show it to you. Proudly. You don't know my
That's
phone?
all right.
But okay, but here's the thing, Dave. We can bring this topic back. Um, the I know you have aligned with this mission, and Kristen, of course, and Dave. But the belief is that loan officers are on the front line of this crisis of financial literacy because we should have command of math, and we also have respect in the community. That we have to get in the community and start to really proactively preach financial literacy and teach it. That's what First Home IQ is all about. Go into the high schools, go into the colleges, go into the churches, go into the community colleges, and start to teach people about financial literacy to set them up for success. And I think that should be, I mean, because we all got in this business because we wanted to help homeowners, help people achieve the American dream of homeownership. Well, now the dream starts 2 decades earlier, where you have to teach them the dream, right? You have to teach them how the dream happens so they can be successful, because that's no longer happening through however osmosis used to happen, So that's why I think this topic is so important.
Yeah. Well, from financial literacy to pizza, how are we gonna transition to that?
See, these are all great topics because they're great topics, right? So here's the thing with America's falling out of love with pizza. Here's what this says. And let's just go to the first graph. Pizza used to be the number one category of food in the United States, by far number one. And by the way, it's still massive. It's something like $23 billion a year in business, something like that. But as you can see in these charts, that its popularity has been falling, and coffee and bakery and the Mexican categories have way overtaken pizza, which is crazy, right? Even American has overtaken pizza, where pizza was number one forever. Now, the analysts go, well, what the heck happened? And the pizza companies are spinning. They're like, what the heck's happening? There's all sorts of pizza companies that are going bankrupt, mostly regionals, even big ones. All sorts of stores are closing, whatever it is, whatever pizza place you follow, they've been closing or closing branches or retail outlets, or closing altogether, right? Because they just haven't figured it out. But here's what's happened, and this is where you can start to glean what we can learn from this for mortgage. In the pandemic, when all of a sudden the advent of home food delivery with Uber Eats and Grubhub, right? All of a sudden, pizza was no longer the only choice, because before that, before the pandemic, really the only place you could spend, unless you're in a big city like New York or San Francisco or something, the only place that you could really spend $20 and get hot food delivered to your house was pizza, right? And like Domino's, delivered in 30 minutes or less. Domino's pizza was like $15, and you could have hot food on your table. It was great. But when we got in the pandemic and everybody was stuck at home, the market solved food delivery for all types of food. And so now what happened is that people at home could go, well, my $20, I can get 2 foot-long sandwiches from Subway and some chips, or I can get fried chicken, or I can get Chinese food, or I can get a healthy salad, or I could get anything I want, and I can get cheaper deals on it, right? And so pizza lost its monopoly kind of on that home delivery hot food segment. And as the consumer got choice, it started to, choose other factors. And so what happens? The pizza industry freaks out. Now their volume's shrinking, which is not good. Whole companies are closing. Stores are closing. Restaurants are closing. And so what's the natural thing? And this is going. When I say this, it's going to resonate because we're like, oh, we've done this. There's a race to the bottom on price. First reaction, race to the bottom on price. We're going to go, oh my God, okay, here's what we have to do. We have to beat the price of a burger from McDonald's, and we have to beat our price of, Pizza Hut has to beat the price from Domino's or from Papa John's or from Blaze Pizza. And so we're going to shoot to the bottom, and now we're going to have $6.99, large one topping pizza, $6.99. Will you buy from us now? Right? And so that, of course, what did it cause? All these companies go bankrupt, because apparently you can't make money delivering a large pizza for $6.99, apparently, right? And so that's how all these stores are closing. So now they're like, okay, we've seen our market share radically erode, and we tried the low pricing, and we're just all going out of business. So now let's try value, quality, and value. Like, let's just be the best value meal delivered to somebody's house. And that's what the strategy is now. And David, before I get your feedback, which I'm really eager to get, so how does this apply to mortgage? Well, isn't the same thing happening to mortgage? We're just slightly behind it. And here's what happened. How did choice come in the mortgage industry? How did choice come for home buyers? It came with the digital mortgage. As soon as we digitized the entire application process, what that created is the ability for a borrower with this digital package to submit their loan 20 places in 5 minutes if they wanted to. Once they digitized all their documents, well, they learned how to link their bank account, their income statements, all that kind of stuff, and they could push go. It literally takes 2 or 3 minutes at each different place. You can now submit your application to 20 places without being a lot of grief. Before that, David, if you remember this back in the 90s, early 2000s, your borrower would bring you the BOC, right? You know what BOC stands for?
I don't.
Accountants know this. Box of crap. It would be like a giant banker's box of all these documents and go, I think I have everything I need right here. I think you have everything you probably need right here. And it's just like a box of crap, a bunch of loot, because they're like, they don't know what they need. They're putting all their tax returns for 20 years and their income stubs, which are old stubs, and their bank statements that they've been mailed to them. They're still in the envelopes. It's all in this box of crap. And they go, I think this has everything you need. And literally, you dread this. As a matter of fact, you train your receptionist on how to go through a box of crap to copy what the borrower brought to you, and then also to deliver it in the exact same form that they give it to you. Like, when a CPA used to give you your taxes, they do these thick ass 3 staples and bind it if they try to be really nice. And it's a pain in the ass to unstaple them. And then you got to staple them back in the cover. It was a box of crap. It took forever. And so once a borrower had come to you and they gathered all the box of crap and they waited for an hour while the receptionist, if you're lucky to have a receptionist or assistant, while they copied it, while the loan officer can act like brilliant, while my assistant copied your stuff, let me tell you about the nature of mortgages, right? So after they went through that whole pain, they had to drive to your office, right? They had to go through the pain. You know what? They weren't shopping you. They never wanted to go through that experience again. Never. Like, I don't want to take my box of crap to another place and they're going to judge me and I feel bad. And, they just wouldn't shop. Well, today you create one digital file. It's like boop, 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 boop. Super easy, right? And so just like the pizza companies, we have competition, right? We have competition. So what do mortgage companies do? Race to the bottom on price. All right, if we're going to be commoditized, we all look the same. Here's the thing. I have 5,999 for you today. Or I have 499 for you today. Like, I'm racing to the bottom. And then what's happening? We had 8 quarters, 7 out of 8 quarters where companies lost money. Now, there's right sizing problems and other things, but we also cut the hell out of the margin, right? And we lost a bunch of money. And companies went out of business or they merged, right? Like the pizza companies. And now, lenders are hopefully trying to figure out, well, what we really need to do is the best experience for our borrower. We need to have education. We need to have good experience. We need to be dependable. We need to do what we promise. Like, we're starting to have value, right? I'm going to serve you for life. And I'm not just saying that because I taught that at a Todd Duncan seminar. I'm saying that because if you don't do a loan with me, I might be out of business. So, right, we're building value finally, but it's the same trajectory as pizza. It's amazing how much it's identical to me. What are your thoughts?
Couple thoughts. I'll go back to the pizza one, then I'll go to the mortgage side. But I wonder, are there any pizza companies that move to Uber Eats or DoorDash
Oh,
and
that's a
just
good
fired
question.
their delivery employees?
It's such a good question. The answer is yes, by the way. And I can't give you the data, but the answer is that some pizza companies have decided it's cheaper to outsource it. Now, remember, DoorDash, Uber Eats, whatever it is, they take a take of the total bill. It's not like we're going to charge $5 to deliver. We're charging you 20% of the ticket, right? So it's a death spiral for restaurants
Mm,
that do that, even though it's keeping them
mhm.
alive, some of them. But it's a love hate relationship. But yes, some of them are, especially smaller ones that can't afford the insurance for insurance drivers and all that kind of stuff. Yes.
Right. Yeah. I would doubt the big change, Domino's, Little Caesars, Papa John's, whoever, they probably still have their own. I actually got Domino's for the first time. I think it was like 3 weeks ago when we were talking about pizza on this
Yeah.
podcast. I said to McKenna, Kelly was planning on cooking that night. And she was actually planning on cooking a frozen pizza. I was like, I really am in the mood for Domino's. But that was the first time getting pizza in forever.
How was it?
It was really good, and I got the cheese stuffed crust.
See, I love Domino's. By the way, Domino's was the best performing company on the stock market for like 25 years. It had the highest return.
Right.
Not any longer with the tech companies, but the thing about Domino's, my favorite thing is back in, when was it, 2005 or 2010, where the new CEO goes, okay, we focus on fast delivery, cheap. Like that was our value prop. But I had the pizza. You're right. It's horrible. Our pizza's bad. So we're actually going to convert to real ingredients, make a better pizza that you actually want, and still deliver it fast. Right? Like that's what won me over for Domino's. Now I've only had Domino's maybe once in my life, but I love that campaign. Like that's a from the gut topic, right? Where the CEO literally goes on, does a commercial. You can Google it. Yeah, I understand our pizza's crappy. It's so bad, but we're gonna make it better. That's my promise to you, right? Because what's the complaint? Like, how great is that? That is so good. But let me ask you, Dave. Like, now just understand, I'm a foodie, as you know. I love the best places, local places. Like, I'm gonna go to the best pizza shop, not the most convenient. It's like a $6.99 large pepperoni pizza edible. Like, is it even edible?
Let's
Like,
get
what's it
McKenna's
made
take
from?
because we had Domino's about 3 weeks ago, and it was, I think it was like $8 or whatever. McKenna, what did you think?
It is absolutely edible.
Oh,
I
nice.
am I am not a foodie by any sense of the means. I definitely care about flavor and I definitely care about like what I eat, but it is absolutely edible and it's delicious.
It's just kind of
Nice.
like a comfort food.
Oh, I love pizza. I totally agree. As a matter of fact,
Okay,
last night
but
when I
here,
missed dinner reservations, I had to get pizza at 1 o'clock.
here's my thoughts on the mortgage side. So I've
Yeah.
bought, how many homes have I bought? I bought in 2001. I bought in 2008, and then I bought in 2013, 2018, and 2021. Rocket was the first company, right? Would you disagree? To really digitize the push button get mortgage, the digital application,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly, I mean, the several times that I bought a home prior to then, the mid 2000 teens. Um, no, let me compare it to the two times that I've bought a house after the digital application. I don't remember it being significantly more of a time savings than it was before. Am I just remembering that wrong?
No, you are. But the thing you have to think about is technology and innovation. Think of Moore's Law, right?
Yeah.
It's exponentially like 100 times better today than 5 years ago, right? Part of it is, back 5 years, even 5 years ago, but go back 10 years ago. Think of your mom's this way. Think I'm this way. I wouldn't want to give my credentials to the technology to go get my bank statements or to go get my taxes or go get my income. But today people don't care. They're like, oh yeah, here, take it. Right?
Yeah.
And so the document retrieval, technology is 100 times better. And
Yeah.
now, so now today, right? Not only do they get your document retrieval is great, then it goes into automatic underwriting. It's just, I mean, there's so many places, outlets today that you can automate all that stuff, and you can get a firm commitment in less than 120 seconds on the phone with a company.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely
maybe
different today.
my personal experience is tainted because for the last 15 years I've worked at the mortgage company that I've gotten a mortgage through, so my experience is a little bit unique. But do you want to talk about handcuffs, because we've gone way over on this topic and
I'm
we've
ready to
tried
go.
to, yeah, you tried to move on, and I pulled us back in about 5 minutes ago, but handcuffs is our next topic. What in the world?
Yeah, but I started with a 20-minute rant. That's what got us off. It wasn't you
That was a
guys.
bit of a bronze rant.
David, it's so funny. I couldn't sleep the other night. I was in Nice, and unlike in Paris, like the hotel TV, you get like one or two stations for every major country, so you get every language. In Nice, everything's in French. It's like everything's in French, right? And
Ron,
so,
can I interrupt you?
yeah,
I'm scared of where this is going by me saying the word handcuffs and what this is about, and you're talking about
100%,
waking up
dude.
in Nice
So
and
100%. So I turn on this French movie station, and it was about handcuffs. Let's just say that. and Belinda was trying to sleep, like, what the hell? I'm like, I don't even know what they're saying, sweetie, but it seems pretty interesting. Anyway, enough said. But
oh my gosh, am I blushing?
yeah. You know those French.
Yeah. All right, let's pull up that slide.
That's my segue to handcuffs. That's the best I got. Oh gosh. By the way,
All right, lead the way.
I was gonna tell you the whole. I was gonna give you more of the graphics, but I'll skip it. Let's get to the handcuffs. All right, golden handcuffs, slip in housing market, which is one of my favorite charts I've seen in some time. And you know, David, as it comes to like economic forecasts, financial forecasts, I tend to be the glass is half full. Like for the last 3 years, I've been the only person in the whole world saying there's upward pressure on rates. Quit selling the 3% rate. Like quit selling what's going to happen. This is our environment, right? And you know, I've rightfully received a lot of criticism, but I've also been right, you people. But so this is a really positive graph that I thought would be really fun to talk about. McKenna, can you show us this little chart? It's super good. It's a great little visual. Here it is. Super simple to understand. The blue line right there, the blue line is the number of mortgages that have a 6% interest rate. And the red line is the percentage of mortgages that have less than a 3%. So the first time now in almost 5 years, we have more 6% mortgages and we have 3% or less mortgages, which just starts to tell you that those golden handcuffs, the people being locked in, the lock-in effect of the rate is really loosening. And we're starting to see that. And there's no better show of this than this visual. That's as simple as that. How do you like that, Dave?
I like it. I've told you what my interest rate is, and that lock-in effect, I think, is going to live on for quite a while for me. I'm not moving. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
You, you,
it's normalized.
yeah. And Dave, I have great interest rates, mortgages. But when I got my, you know, like my neighbor tells me he has a 1.99, like my next door neighbor. I'm like, dude, I'm in the business. I can get 1.99. And all these people have like 2.5. You know, I didn't get a 2.5 because this is like a confession. I remember I got in the business. I used to help, you know, family members get a mortgage, and they were always like, my brother particularly. I did all his mortgages on a lot of houses. He's like, give me the market rate. Don't give me the discount. And so that's always how I treated my company. Like when I got a mortgage at a company I work with, I go, don't give me the discount. Just give me the rate. I'll be fine. And so I have FOMO because I do not have a 2.5% interest rate. Dang it! But I respect people that do. Or my neighbor that has a 1.99.
How did he get did he just buy it down to get it down to 1.99?
Yeah, they were offering 2.5 and he bought it down to 1.99. And he actually asked me, should I refinance? I'm like, nope.
Why would you refinance?
And don't.
Why do
Because
you even ask you that question?
Yeah, I hear rates. And by the way, he's a super genius, surgeon kind of guy. And I'm like, he goes, I heard rates have come down. Do you think I should refinance? Nope. Thanks for asking.
Is he just not in tune? Yeah. Is it the one guy that I met?
No,
at your house?
no.
Different guy.
He's a very interesting dude. He's a one man, neighborhood watch dude, which is great. You know, he patrols our neighborhood with many weapons, which is great.
Hacking.
But he's like a head surgeon. He was head of medical for the U.S. Marines foreign operations, the lead medical officer.
Obviously a smart guy. Why would he ask that question? He's just not in tune with what rates are.
That's how you get a 1.99% interest rate. You ask questions like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask dumb questions.
Yeah. There you go.
There are no dumb questions, only dumb people.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say that because he's not listening to this. But I do have my, David told you the other day, I had a neighbor. Now I feel bad. A neighbor bumped into me pre-dawn. I was on a walk out through the neighborhood, and he's like, "Hey, are you the dude that does financial podcasts?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You're 100." Like, what do you oh, by the way, Belinda's giving me the it's like, stop it. They're good friends, and they are, and they're
well,
all brilliant.
well, at least he's watching financial podcasts and not some crap that shows up on your TV with handcuffs at 3 in the morning.
It was better than you think, though, Dave.
All right, let's talk about resolutions to add decades to your life.
This is so good. This is another. These are all great topics. I am a giant fan of Peter Diamandis. He is a fantastic futurist. Most people have to, if you know any futurist, you know Peter Diamandis. He is a medical PhD by nature, so he's very much into health longevity, but he also has the X Prize, which is, I think it's $100 million prize for somebody that creates the first something. I forget what it is off the top of my head. But he is great. He's fun to follow. He's free to get his newsletter, which is terrific. He has a new book coming out. But for his New Year's, post in his newsletter, which came out a week ago, he said, "Look, the 11 resolutions, you need to add decades to your life." And here's what he's saying. He's like, if you can just live longer, the way medicine's going, it's going to find a way to help you live to 200. Like if you can just live longer, so those protocols come in, right? That if you can make it far enough, then you can really live more decades, is what he's saying. So how do we extend our life even 5 years, 10 years past our expectancies? Because every year we do that brings all this more longevity, medical breakthroughs are going to come to help us, right? So he goes, here's the things. Here's the 11 ways to live longer. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was really interesting. And by the way, Dave, you and I talked about this. It's not just about living longer. It's about living better. And one thing that we know, especially if you're a loan officer, same thing, a real estate agent, by the way, we have super stressful lives. It's 24/7, 365. It's all sorts of stress, people screaming at you, all these emotions, all this. I mean, because people are doing these, life events that we get to be at the center of, and it's just a grind. Nothing goes right. Everything goes wrong. It's all stress, all of it. And so your level of success oftentimes is dictated by your level of health. It's really that simple. And it's taken me my whole life to start to learn that, and I'm still trying, but apparently not if I'm watching handcuff movies at 3 o'clock in Nice, but I'm still trying to learn that, and so the first invitation is for anyone watching this or anyone in our sphere is, what can you do to be healthier? And so Peter says these are 11 things, and they're simple. Here's 11 things that make you healthier. Now, if you follow me on LinkedIn, you'll know that I did a post on this a few days ago, and I actually created a scorecard for you that you could take. You can actually take the test. And what I highly recommended is put the questions into Chat GPT or whatever your preferred AI tool, and have that AI tool interview you. Make sure you give it specific directions to be brutally honest, explain what the test is, and then have it interview you, which is great. And then use my scoring system, and you can kind of figure out how you're doing. And then I gave you, hey, you're great, you're gonna live a long time, you suck, you're about to die. It was like 5 categories, and my recommendation was, if you suck, you're about to die, just try to fix one thing at a time. So, Dave, here's the 11 things. We'll go through them really quickly. Prioritize your sleep like your life depends on it. What do you think? How do you do? You're great at this, by the way.
I do pretty well. My schedule is off. I go to bed usually extremely late and wake up late, but the amount of sleep that I get it fluctuates between 7.5 to 8 hours.
Nice. And by the way, the
And
rules
you,
of this
Ron?
were, oh, well, hold on. The rules of this is 8 hours of sleep nightly, sleep in a room that's 63 degrees or cooler,
Ooh.
don't eat any food 2 to 3 hours before bed, and be consistent at what time you go to bed. And then, of course, no sugar within an hour of going to sleep, and take magnesium before you go to sleep, right? So
What does
that's the kind
magnesium
of
do for you?
it helps you sleep. It just helps you get into the circadian rhythm faster.
Mm.
So of this, Belinda's, thankfully, she sets her room at 68 degrees. Well, it depends. In the summer, she makes it colder. In the winter, she makes it warmer. It's a psychological thing. But so we sleep at 68, so we do okay there. I completely suck. I eat dinner and go to sleep, so I completely fail at that. I do go to bed, as you know, David. I go to bed at the same time. Like you stay with me. You're like,
Hmm.
Ron, it's sunset. I'm like, yeah, bedtime, David. So I do that well, but I only average about 5 hours of sleep a night. Which I've worked
Yeesh.
on. I've increased from 4 hours to 5 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm not so good at this. All right. So how about the next one?
Okay, so we don't have time to go through each one in depth, but at the end, there's one more slide that shows the rest of the 11, or maybe two more slides. But at the end of this, Ron, we're going to challenge each other, or we're going to state which one we're going to do better at this year or commit to this year. So let's go
Yeah.
back one slide. So the
Yeah.
first one
So
was
let's go through
sleep.
these really quickly. We don't have to comment. Let's just go through them really quickly. The second one is muscle mass. Do you lift?
Yeah.
Right. And by the way, muscle mass is one of the, we told me we're going to comment. I'm coming. Muscle mass is one of the number one factors for longevity. If you're maintaining, building muscle mass, you're likely to live longer. The third one is, do you know your numbers? And by the way, you don't have to get a full body scan. It also counts using, do you have a health app, or do you use an Aura ring? Like, are you getting any of your data? Are you paying attention, or are you intentional? Now, of course, suggests a CT scan or a DEXA scan 100, or all sorts of other biomarkers, but he's crazy. And then, do you eat sugar? Sugar's poison. Eliminate it. That's number 4. I'm not a sweet guy. Are you, Dave? I'm not a real sweets dude.
Not really. My mom's a massive chocolate fanatic. She'll bring over candy or baked goods or stuff like that, and Kelly rolls her eyes because it just sits in her pantry for weeks, months, and then it just gets thrown away.
Yeah, yeah. Bill and I aren't really big sweets people. We have a ton of sweets in our house, but we don't eat them at all. Okay, number 5 is fasting. Do you fast?
I fasted, I think, twice in my life.
So intermittent fasting, you don't have to be like, I'm going to not eat for 3 days. It's really, can you create at least a 12-hour window of fasting? So if you eat dinner at 7, that means you have breakfast after 7. And if you can do 18 hours, it's even better, right? And there's also a
Hmm.
reason why fasting works. I'm actually pretty good at that because we eat around 6 or 7, and I don't eat usually again until like noon. So I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah,
You,
I'm
you,
I'm
you
kind of I'm not a uh uh, like McKenna said, I'm not a massive foodie either, and I've always been a fairly slim-ish guy, and I don't have a huge appetite, so I think I just do that naturally.
Yeah, you hardly eat. You hardly eat, which is why you're so svelte. Okay, number 6 is your VO2 max. You know your VO2?
I don't even know what VO2 is.
It has to do with the oxygen strength in your blood. I can be
Huh.
more scientific about this, but it has to do with your oxygen in your blood. It's how your mitochondria converts oxygen and fuel into energy.
Hmm.
So you want to know that, right? Now, this is one of my strong. I
Okay.
have a super high VO2 because I exercise like a fiend and I do strenuous exercise. So
Hmm.
mine's a 4.2, which is high, very high for my age.
Yeah.
My cardiovascular age is 11 years younger than my actual age.
So I think I want to get one of those Aura rings, or I think
Aura?
Quelo just brought out. Yeah, Quelo just actually brought out a new one, a slim version or whatever that they're entering the game, and it gives. I'm an Apple Watch wearer, and I started wearing it to track my sleep probably about a year ago,
Yep.
and it did tell me that it's noticed a change in my active calories burned per day because I've
Nice.
been working a lot more, I think, lately,
Mhm.
and a little less active, and so yeah. How much better are the Aura rings than Apple Watch?
I think it's a lot more accurate because I track both. As you know, I'm pretty. That's another thing I'm really
Yeah.
good at is tracking my health. But Aura Ring is much more accurate and it gives you a ton more data.
Does
Very
it?
much so,
Okay.
annoyingly so. You know.
All right. I need to
uh,
get one.
all right, yeah, get one. They're like $300 for them. They're cool. They're really great. We talked about this before though. All right, how about your community is your blue zone, and that's the same thing. The 5 people you're around the most are the 5 people that dictate your results. If you're around 5 crazy healthy people, you're going to be crazy healthy. If you're around 5 fat people, you're going to be fat. It's just the way it is, right? And so, how's your community? It's like Dave. When I was, more fat than I am today, I always sought out a fat doctor because it was always much more accepting. So my primary care physician was always. When I lived in Boston, I had this gigantic Hispanic doctor, primary care physician. Like I felt I could get away with anything with him. But you get the anorexic ones who get preachy.
Right. I'm not familiar with the term blue zone.
Yeah, I'm not. Blue zones, regions where people live measurably longer, share one common trait: strong community and social connection.
Okay.
That's a blue zone. There you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you hang out with 5 workout fanatics, and Dave, you hang out with workout fanatics, you're going to work out with them, right?
Yeah. I don't hang out with anyone these days. I work 400 hours a week. So
Yeah, but like when you were hanging out with Alec Hansen in his heyday, right? It means you're going to go do CrossFit because you're hanging out with Alec, right?
yeah.
If you hang out with Dave Savage, you're going to do a walk and talk, right?
Yeah.
If you
No,
hang out
our
with me,
inner circle, our gym people.
yeah, yeah. And you're a gym. You're totally a gym dude. I know you are. Okay, so number 8, what you let into your mind shapes how long you live. I'm telling you, this is the number one thing on the whole list. If you think you're going to die, you know what? You're going to die. If you think you're going to live a long life, you're going to live a long life.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, David?
For the most part, yes. I've known a couple people in my life that one of my good friends in college, and we ended up working together. His wife was absolutely convinced that she was going to die at age whatever. And it always, from the time that she was a kid, she knew she was going to die at age X. I don't remember what it was. And she didn't, and she's still alive today. And that was 15 years ago. So for the most part, yes. I do if it's a bit of a mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, especially older people. They start having all these
For
maladies or
sure.
illnesses, and they start focusing on that and how much their decline is, and it's a self fulfilling. I think your mindset totally matters. David,
Yeah.
growing up in the '70s, people didn't live past their '60s for the most part. So I
Yeah.
always thought I was going to die by the time I turned 60. And once I realized that probably wasn't my outcome, it completely changed my mental outlook. Like I went from being neglectful to my health to being obsessed with my health. Which people that
Right.
have tracked me the last 10 years can tell. And that was all mindset. All right, the next one is the same topic really, is adopt the longevity mindset. Optimists live 15% longer. It's kind of the same topic as the previous one. So unless you see it differently.
Nope.
10 is the 70% rule. This is what's really interesting. This is really taking personal responsibility. Your lifestyle trumps your genes. Like what you do trumps. You could get like the worst genes. And by the way, in this article, this Peter Diamandis article, he cites this 54 million person study, and it showed that look, your ancestry doesn't matter. Your choices matter more. That doesn't mean
Hmm.
you can't get a bad hand dealt to you. I'm not saying that never happens, but you have so much more control than you think.
And then stay healthy long enough to intercept the breakthroughs. And that's what you were talking about earlier. You mentioned about the fact that if you can live long enough to the point where I forget how you phrased it, but you could live to be 200. I'm not sure if I want to live to be 200.
David. So I become a longevity student. I wouldn't say a freak, but I'm totally focused on it. I want to live to be over 100, but I don't want to be a vegetable living to 100. I want to live
Right.
like who I am today to 100. Like I want to be vital, energetic, bright. I'm not saying bright, but you know what I mean. I want to be all there. I don't want to just limp across the finish line. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's
Right.
what he's talking. It's not how do you live. The best word is vital. A vital life
Okay.
as long as you can. And to that, and if you follow Peter Diamandis or read his books, and they're all can be kind of heavy, technical, but he tells you the 100 innovations that can extend your life even today. And same thing if you follow Dr. Rosen at whatever your longevity doctor you follow at the Cleveland Clinic. They all have all these breakthroughs now, tons of breakthroughs that can help you live longer, and some of them aren't even complicated. And that's what he talks about. Okay, so David, you want to make a commitment? What you got to make? What we want to do better?
number for me, it's number 2. I forget what it was. Well, I forget how it
Number
was worded. Was it 2 or 3? Go
number
back, McKenna. Yep, number
muscle
2.
mass.
There you go. Yes. I'm gonna get back
Yeah.
in the gym.
You see, you know what I'm gonna commit to? I want to get back to the gym too,
What?
but I do that intermittently. I'm okay.
You're
But you know what I'm gonna do?
you're already very active with your health. I am not. I'm sitting in front of my computer about 17, 18 hours a day.
And it's gonna be about 20 degrees there tomorrow. You know,
Yeah.
just as a side note. But you know what, David? I'm gonna try to really get disciplined about making sure I eat 2 hours before bed.
Okay. All right. We're gonna hold each other accountable once a month on this podcast. McKenna,
All right,
make a note on that.
I'm gonna do it 5 days a week.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You know
Fair
what, David?
enough.
Can I share
All
something
right.
funny? I think I shared this with
Yes.
you. I know. So I'm on the path to longevity, and I'm seeing a new doctor, and they're prescribing every fungus mushroom powder thing to help me live a long life, and they prescribed something in my
Mushrooms.
it's just as you age things get out of balance. They're like, hey, you got to take this one medicine. You got to take this shot every day. That you'll live a longer life. I'm like, okay. I'm like, good. I'm okay. I'm good with that. Well, the thing is, you have to take it an hour before bed, but 3 hours after you eat, or 2 hours after you eat, and you can't drink more than 3 beers 3 hours before bedtime, essentially. So no eating 2 hours before bedtime, no heavy drinking, and no beers 3 hours before bedtime. And I prescribed this medicine a month ago. I've yet to meet the benchmark one time.
Well played. Well played.
As a matter of fact, we were packing for this trip. I'm like, I should take this. I should start on this medicine. It's already a month old. But it's like, no chance. There's no chance while you're on this trip you're gonna meet that one time.
Right.
So, and then my goal is I'll be able to meet the requirements of taking that shot every day. I'll let you know the first day I take it, which won't
Okay.
be for another
So
month.
we're gonna have to skip a couple topics, but I've got another philosophical question based off what we've just been talking about. I think this is gonna be a good question. McKenna, bring yourself on camera. Ron, I'm gonna make you watch some Black Mirror episodes, and we're gonna start with a specific one. McKenna, do you know where this is going?
I don't know if I know which one you're talking about.
It's just about a
Okay.
horse.
Would you?
Black Mirror.
No. Black Mirror it's on Netflix, and they've done 6 seasons, but each episode is a standalone. None of them build on each other.
I get
They're
it.
all kind of, the setting it's very futuristic, but in today's environment. You don't have flying cars or robots or any of that stuff, but the tech is there, but it's ingrained in like our timeline, right? And so there's one episode where they are able to preserve someone's consciousness. Um, and so where you're conscious, even though your body might die, your consciousness can still live on, right? So would you rather live to 200 and your body start to maybe at about 100? Your body's going to fail over time to some degree, even whatever they bring out from a tech perspective or evolutions they come out with. Would you rather live to be 200 but your body starts kind of really decreasing in really devolving in the last 100 years, or would you rather just your body pass away but your consciousness live on? Did I say that
Uh,
right? Consciousness, or what? Or McKenna, in that episode of Black Mirror, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
consciousness.
consciousness.
Yeah,
yeah,
which one? Which one would you rather,
I would take the consciousness one. How about you?
McKenna?
I don't know if I want either. Both of those sound freaky. Where, I mean, I guess I would say definitely not the body one. If I had to pick one, I would say have my consciousness live on. But if I don't have to pick, then I would say neither. Just live my normal
Yeah.
lifespan and then
Yeah.
die and then let that be
But then
done.
there's a moral question around that as well with your consciousness living on, you know?
Is that you?
Is that actually you?
Mm.
Yeah. So anyway,
What was the challenge?
Ron, no, it was just a philosophical question. It wasn't a challenge.
Figure it
David,
out,
we
Ron.
have okay. David, we have McKenna. David, we have slayed it. We can drop the rest of the topics. We're not as interesting anyway. I think we are good. What do you think?
I think so too. We had 3 more topics, but I think we've kind of gone way over. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
We go
Thursday.
next.
Ron, you're in wherever you are. You're going to be. How was France, by the way? How was Paris?
Yeah, you know what, Davis? It's so interesting because Bud and I have had a really interesting experience the last couple months. We were in Las Vegas at the beginning of the CES convention accidentally, and we went over to the NVIDIA presentation. Just like we're wandering around, we just kind of wandered into it. And the other day, a week ago, we were in Paris at the beginning of Fashion Week, which was, it's just like we just happened to be there. It's like the third time in the last month and a half that we've been someplace for some, super famous show kind of thing. But I'll tell you one thing about France. They're not too happy with the United States right now. Their news is dominated with anti-American stuff.
Yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
that's why you had to watch the handcuff thing because they didn't care.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Ron. Let's end with a cheers. You are on a
Cheers.
cruise ship with the unlimited drink package. So I'm going to cheers. It's not quite noon yet for me, but is it 6 or 7 for you?
6. Yeah. See,
6
Dave,
o'clock.
maybe next week we'll talk about arbitrage, a key term for homeowners, a key term that we should all know, and we can use it. A simple illustration using alcohol.
Interested to see where that goes.
Thank you, David. Thank you,
All right,
McKenna.
Ron.
Good job.
See you next week, guys. Take care.